Konami Studios. The Union, issue number 4, the penultimate episode of this mini. I called it an episode. You guys get it. I like this book a lot. This has been a fun mini-series at Marvel. It's weird to me because if you look at the current landscape of Marvel, of where everything's going, there's like no place for this team at the moment. But I like all these characters enough that I don't want to see them go away. I think they're all very fun, very cool. They all have a place in my heart, and I like seeing this team. I hope we find places for them again, because I don't want them to fade into obscurity. I can already imagine some great stuff to do with Snakes. He's such a fun character. So we open up this book. We are going 30 years into the past, and basically we are seeing Britannia in her prime. So I think we can all agree Britannia's coming back. Like, there's something about her. She is too, I say this every issue, she is too good a design, too cool a character, not to have come back in some regard. I know she's coming back. So we see her in her prime here. She's fighting an early version of Doc Croc. She's taking out his evil fortresses, Vulcania, some weird people. I think there's like another, it's just weird characters. Shining Lights, I think, is another one. It's just like your classic 30 years ago schluck from like Marvel Comics, pretty much, you know, just like the pulpy action adventure era that you'd see. It's kind of like timeless. The 30 years ago would be the 90s, but it doesn't look like the 90s, so it's like, you know, a long time ago. But this Doc Croc's a villain. She manages to take most of them down, but she gets attacked by this guy called the Sponge. And the Sponge is like this weird-looking dude. She takes him down, but she gets a few licks in, and the Sponge is about to kill her. But it looks like he hesitates, and it makes Doc Croc mad. And we just cut to the present day without seeing the resolution to that story. So it's like, did the Sponge kill Britannia, and she has like some regenerative powers where she can come back? We don't really explain it, but we do cut to the present day in London. We get our recap again of all the heroes and like what they're doing here, why everything's going on. We get confirmation that Quire is not a part of the team anymore, and that Bulldog replaced her. And we get stuff with Steve Darwin, who's like the tech idiot guy who looks like you know, the classic hipster character. He's broadcasting and talking on the TV. And in classic old school comic book fashion, the broadcast is interrupted by Doc Croc, and he's like, "You guys made fun of me, calling me stupid names." His name's actually Crocodile, so he's actually called Dr. Crocodile. Like, no wonder they're gonna make fun of you, dude. Your parents hate you. Like, that is such a terrible name. But this just gave me like some classic old school comic book vibes, where the villain's just like, "I took over the television screens, and I'm going to steal every art piece in the world and all these magical gems and jewels, and you're all gonna fall to me. I've taken down Britannia. You didn't." It was like the King in Black stuff, but whatever, man. You do you. And he's just like, "I'm gonna win this war. The Britain, the united world that Britannia wants. It's impossible." And we see that our group, the Union, is like standing in this boardroom, and they're all just like, what are we gonna do about this? Union Jack's like, "I don't think we should like do this. We should just stop. Like, we obviously can't win this. We're pretty bad as a team, and we're pretty dysfunctional. We should just call the whole thing off." But everyone's just like, "Nah, we gotta at least try." Everyone's kind of freaking out, not really sure what to do. And we get like some reports from stuff going on outside. There's like a corgi that showed up, so like all these like soldiers are standing outside looking at this corgi, and they're just like talking to Darwin like, "So it's nothing. It looks like it's clear. It's like a random dog just showed up. He's surprisingly happy." Then we just cut back to the outside, and we see that the villains have returned. There's like Shimmering Lights and Vulcania and Doc Croc. And of course, it wouldn't be a modern Marvel comic if there wasn't a talking dog. That seems like such a staple right now. I think Doctor Strange has one. Does Thor have one? Talking dogs all over the place. Where is Cosmo? That's all I want to know. Where is he, actually? I can't remember. But yeah, it looks like there's this new character called Scream, which they're wearing a mask that you can't see their face, which I'm just going to assume it's the Quire being manipulated to use her power. So all of our evildoers are just walking into the Tower of London, just like, it's so classic. It's like a 66 Batman episode where it's like, "We took over the TV. We're here to steal a jewel. We're just walking into the building." It's awesome. So it's like, our team of the Union doesn't really even get a plan together. They're just like, let's all go fight them at individual times to see if we can stop them from getting closer. So Kelpie goes first. She gets taken down by Shining Lights or Shimmering Lights or whatever her name is. She gets taken down, turned into a puddle. Snakes comes in to fight. The dog attacks him. and you're like, that's great. They all kind of kick his ass. He gets bound up by some strings. You're like, that's cool. And we get like a panel or you see that Scream like apologizes to Snakes, which it could be like, is she being mind controlled? I'm still saying this is the choir, so you could look at that and be like, is she being mind controlled, or is she like playing both sides, where she's gonna like do the double cross to the bad guys at the later date? Which could be that one. I don't really know. And we do see it's time for Bulldog to try, and Bulldog, a character who is clearly a ripoff of Puck. I get it, like it's kind of funny, but I don't need it. He's my least favorite character in this book. So they just kind of like do some like anti-gravity thing and shoot him into the air, and we cut back to like the top of the keep where they're keeping the prize jewel, and Union Jack and Steve Darwin are inside ready to fight, and outside there's a man called the Last Beef Eater. Is that how you say that? Or Beef Eater? It looks like Beef Eater is all I'm gonna say. What a silly name. If there's some like reason, like some significant reason for something like that, is like something in London related to something called the Beef Eater or the Beef Eater, please let me know, because I'm not really sure if that has like some significance or importance, like that kind of a title or that kind of a role. But this like little dude with like a stick and a hat, he's coming in to fight them, gets his ass kicked, and he's like, when I fall, another shall rise, there will always be a Beef Eater. What a great name, my dude. What a great name. It's so funny. So Scream uses her powers and she like blows the door open. We see that Union Jack's kind of already knocked out. It could either have been from Scream or something. We don't really know. But there's Doc Croc just standing in front of a nice picture, and he's like, methinks the jewel will be behind this. The Emperor's Stone, as he called it. He reaches in. It's not there. And it looks like a double cross. As Steve Darwin takes the Emperor's Stone and he calls himself Emperor. And you're like, okay, I didn't see that coming, but I'm not surprised that like the guy who looks like a villain turned out to be a villain. Very unsurprising. Very cool though. This book continues to look fun. I really like the team here. I have to applaud everybody involved. I don't know who was like in charge or responsible for designing the costumes, but I think in modern Marvel comic books, there are so few costumes that look as iconic as the ones they have created for the Union. Just looking at it, like, Britannia's costume is fantastic. Kelpie and the Choir, they have such great costumes. Snakes is great. All of those costumes, they work so perfectly. They're so iconic. I really enjoy this book. If you haven't been reading it, I recommend checking it out, because it starts off with like a weird King in Black tie-in, but as it progresses, it gets away from that and becomes like this weird pulpy action thing with like characters with silly names, but it's like all over Europe and shit. It's very funny and very cool. Like, there's just, my man is just a bunch of snakes in a suit, and Union Jack's kind of just like, I don't want to do this. Quit making me do this. This all sucks. I hate everything about this. It's so fun that way, and I think a lot of people will enjoy what this book has to offer. So, The Union, issue number 4, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.